So you can begin in a seat. Just say a couple things about our spine. So the spine transmutes or translates movement in articulation, upper body to lower body, right? It transmits like loads from upper body to lower body and lower body to upper body. It is our stability, and it also allows for freedom of movement. And we use the term a lot in yoga and in shapes, and I say it a lot, find a neutral spine. So today, when we're doing a lot of our shapes and forms, a neutral spine for you is going to be different than it is for me, most likely, for everybody, right? So I want you to think about a neutral spine being the most relaxed your spine is. So if you're sitting right now, sit with a neutral spine. So the spine most relaxed, right? Most relaxed. And if there's any, we don't want a lot of joint tension created when we bend a joint or move a joint. So we're not going to do anything really super enhanced today, but when we enhance our movement with the joints, moving our arms, moving our legs, moving our head, we want to maintain stability in our spine while we have that expression in the rest of the body. Okay, so flexibility in the spine would then be the distance, the furthest distance away from neutral that we can take our body, but maintain stability while we have this enhanced movement. Okay, and in general, the more stress we have on the spine, the more stability we want in the spine. So we're going to, with stress, we want to bring stability. And with enhanced movement, we unload the spine. So then we have to find that balance between stability and sort of unloading the spine. Okay, great. All right, let's go to our backs first. So on your back, on your mat. And then with the knees bent, the soles of your feet on the floor, arms alongside your body, just press up into a bridge, a rolling bridge, so the arms come behind you as you lift your hips off the floor. Yep, so the hips come up off the floor on the inhale, pressing into the feet. And then on the exhale, you roll everything back down to the floor. Okay. So inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips, and bring your arms behind your body. That's it. And then exhale, roll everything back down. So just some big movement through your spine. And do a few more of those. Great. So we're pressing into the feet. Inhale, lift the hips. Backs of the hands come behind. Exhale, roll everything back down, one vertebra at a time. Just getting a feel for your spine at the beginning of class here. Press into your feet, lift your hips. Reach the arms behind, exhale, lower everything back down. Do a few more. And then the next time your hips come to the floor, just let your hands rest alongside your body and then just windshield wiper the knees back and forth a few times. Again, just a little bit bigger movement to start. And then we're going to get really subtle. Okay, so now come to a Tadasana shape. So legs straight, toes reaching back towards the shins, arms alongside your body. If you had some wall space or a piece of furniture nearby, you could press your feet just gently against that, right? That helps to maintain that Tadasana shape. Not necessary, but if you had it, go for it. Now, tuck your chin in slightly and lengthen the back of your neck. Okay, so you really feel the back of your skull pressed into the floor, shoulder blades under your body. Okay, now just sense where you have connection to the floor and where you have a little liftedness away from the floor. This is neutral spine right here. This is your neutral spine. You should feel relaxed without any tension. So find that. Now, for most of us, it's going to be somewhere around, it's going to look something like this. The back of the skull is touching the floor. There's a little bit of space underneath your cervical spine, your neck. Thoracic spine, mid-back is touching the floor. There's a little space below your lumbar spine, little space underneath the lumbar spine. And then your sacrum, the end of your spine, sacrum is touching the floor with your hips touching the floor. Yeah? That's our neutral spine. Just really feel it, sense it, understand it. Okay? And then we'll start to move a little bit with the spine in this nice neutral position. So starting with the shoulder blades, we'll draw the shoulder blades down. Now your arms are going to move with this, right? Then out, then up, then in. So you're making some circles with the shoulder blades. And notice if when you just do this small movement, you alter your spine in any way. Reverse the direction of the circling. So up, out, down, and in. It's not a very big movement. Your arms are going to move with the shoulder blades, of course. Just feel. See if you can maintain this neutral spine. And again, I'm going to identify that as the most comfortable, a comfortable position for your spine. But you feel stability and you have the freedom of movement. Now, just rest your arms alongside your body, readjust in any way. And then with the back of your skull pressing into the floor, just make some circles with your nose. Really tiny little circles, like you're drawing circles on the ceiling with your nose. Go slow. Change direction. We're just initiating a little movement in the cervical spine. Then come back to center. And now turn your head to the left. So you're looking to the left side of your space. Come back to center and then turn your head to the right. Go back and forth a few times. The back of your head the back of your head stays in contact with the floor. Back of your head stays in contact with the floor. So we do this, we do this sitting up. We do this standing. But now we have the floor here as the feedback. So we keep the head in the neutral position, ears over shoulders, as we look right and left. Just go slow so you don't get dizzy. Good. And then come back to center. Take a breath. Then bend your knees, take the soles of your feet to the floor. And inhale, draw your pubic bone away from your navel, anterior tilt of the pelvis. And then exhale, draw your pubic bone towards your navel, posterior tilt of the pelvis. And move back and forth, pelvic tilts. And as you move back and forth, somewhere in the middle of those two extremes should be your neutral pelvis. Can you find a neutral pelvis? All right, keep your neutral pelvis. Draw your right knee in towards your chest. Just gently draw it in towards your chest and set your right foot back down. Then draw your left knee in towards your chest and set your left knee back down. See if you can remain with a neutral spine with this small movement of bringing one knee in towards your chest and then the other knee. Back and forth. Back and forth. Just a few times. Notice if when you do this, and of course we will have movement. When we move one end of the spine, we often have movement in the other end. So if you have a little movement up in your cervical spine while you're doing this, it's fine, right? We're just trying to find that neutral pelvis while we move one knee in and then alternate to the other knee. Now, both soles of both feet back to the floor. And now you're going to need your block and your strap on the middle position. So middle position, right between your knees, your thighs, not right on the knees, but the thighs. And then your strap goes around the block and your knees. So it captures the block and the knees with your tail to either side so that you can tighten it. So it looks like that. Just we tighten it, tighten the strap around the block. I have my strap around the block. You could also have it below the block, closer to the shins, right? But this works pretty well. Then take the soles of your feet back to the floor. Find a neutral pelvis. With about 20 to 30% of your effort, just squeeze in on the block and then press out against the strap. If the block drops, you don't have the strap tight enough. Okay, so you want to keep the block where it is, squeeze in, then press out against the strap, squeeze in, press out against the strap. 20% of your effort. It's not a big effort. We're just neutralizing the sacroiliac joint, the base of the spine. Okay, so the spine also carries all the sort of cosmic energy. Bring that in to the body and have it be manifested in the body, cosmic energy. So the base of the spine is about stability and safety, and creative expression, life-giving expression. Great, so you've done that a few times. Great, now draw your knees into your chest. You still have the block contained in the strap. and bring your hands to the front of your knees, right above the shins. And then just press your knees into your hands and resist with your hands, and then release. Press your knees into your hands, resist with your hands, and release. Again, not too big of an effort, just 6 or 7 times. So the sacroiliac joint, we oftentimes will get pain in our low back because that joint gets displaced, gets moved around. It's a really funky, got a really funky surface, kind of like the cogs in a gear, right? And they don't situate really smoothly together, so it's easy for this joint to get kind of tweaked. Good. And then bring your hands on the other side, so your palms against the top of the thighs near your knees, front of your thighs, and then press and resist, press and resist. But don't make it too effortful, just about 20 or 30%. Okay, now keep one hand there and take the other hand back to the first position, top of the shin, right, in front of the knee. And then it's a little diagonal movement. So you'll press the knee into the hand into the knee, resist with the hands. So you just press, release, then switch hands. So go back and forth, a little isometric movement. Pressing in a diagonal orientation now, back and forth. Notice if you've changed something else in your spine, like did you, especially if you kicked your head up to look at the recording, right? So if you picked your head up, make sure you put the back of your head back into the floor and tuck your chin in. Good. Then lower your feet back to the floor. Find a neutral pelvis. Find a neutral pelvis. Squeeze the block. Press out against the strap. Squeeze the block. Press out against the strap. Good. Okay. Now you can loosen the belt and take the belt and block system there and just set it over to the side. Actually, keep your block. Keep your block. Press into your feet, lift your hips, take your block underneath your sacrum. And then one leg at a time, just release any tension in the hip flexor. So one leg at a time, long. So now one of the ways that the spine moves, and we have our spine now, it's more of an extended shape. So spine flexes and extends. Okay. We tend to spend most of our time, I'm just going back and forth, stretching one leg long and then the other. We spend most of our time with our spine in flexion. So countering that with some extension or axial extension, we'll do a little bit of that today, is really great for the spine. And then we'll get into the other ways the spine moves, which is lateral movement and rotation. Okay. Once you've done an even number, soles of the feet into the floor, press and lift, take your block now to the side and roll down slowly and come back into Tadasana. Great. Now interlace your fingers right above your chest. Inhale, press your palms up towards the ceiling and draw your arms behind you. Some of us will be able to put our arms all the way to the floor and some of us won't. And then on your exhale, release the hands and let your arms float back down to your sides. Inhale, interlace, press palms up. behind your head, and exhale, release, and come back down. And again, I really want you to really pay attention to how your back you're getting feedback from the floor while you're on your back. We're going to do this movement sitting as well, but can you have a nice neutral spine because you have the support of the floor? The floor is our biggest prop in yoga. Okay, inhale, press the palms up, reach behind us. Exhale, release the arms down to your sides. So you're just taking some big movements in the shoulders. We're using the floor prop to get information about what our spine is doing. Are you in a nice neutral spine, defined as the most comfortable position for your spine, but you feel stable, and you are allowing this freedom of movement in the arms. Next time your arms come behind your head, leave them there. Unless that is too uncomfortable for you, if you can't get your arms to come to the floor, just bring your hands underneath the back of your head. Interlace your hands behind the back of your head with elbows bent. Then bring both feet over to the right. And if you have your arms long, slide your arms over to the right. If you have your elbows bent with your hands behind your head, slide your left elbow back. So lateral movement in the spine. But can you sense from your cervical spine all the way through your tailbone? Do you have that same neutral, your neutral position of your spine? Come back to center. Slide feet over to the left and right elbow back, or arms over to the left. You still have that nice neutral position of your spine. And then come back to center. Release your hands. Bring your hands alongside your body. Bend your knees again. Take the soles of your feet to the floor. And we'll come back to that rolling bridge. So as you inhale, pelvis tilts forward slightly. Press into your feet, lift your hips, arms come behind you, back of your hands resting on the floor. Leave your arms there and roll down one vertebra at a time, as if you're trying to pull your spine long. So all the way down to the floor. See if each vertebra can touch the floor, and then reach your tailbone down towards the space between your feet. So there you go. Now you're back in, you should be back in a neutral spine for you. And then float your arms back down to your sides. Press into your feet, lift your hips, bring your arms behind you, backs of your hands touch the floor behind you. Keep your chin tucked in, the back of your neck long. And then roll down one vertebra at a time. Keep your arms where they are. And see if you can, it's like you had your back was a piece of taffy. See if you can really lengthen as much as possible through your spine and float your arms back down to your sides. How about two more, just like that, two more. Press and lift. Leave the arms where they are. Roll down one vertebra at a time, like you're stretching a piece of taffy long. It's really kind of hard to get the low back, but see if you can get the low back into the floor. Then you have the tailbone touching, so you get back to a little arch away from the floor with your lumbar spine. Float the hands back down. Got one more. Great. Now float your arms back down to the sides. Let your knees rest together. Feet are wide. Arms are at your sides. Feel for your neutral spine. A lot of us pick our chin up towards the ceiling. Can you tuck your chin in here? Pressing the back of your skull into the floor. Keep the back of your neck long. And this is really a counter to what we're doing most of the day, which is head forward on our devices or looking at a book, or, so we want to counter that a bit. And here we go. Then from here, let's roll to one side, press up. And if you need to pad, we're going to come to hands and knees. So if you need some padding for your knees, go ahead and set that up. And find table. Find your table position. All right, find table. And finding table now I don't have that feedback from the floor, but can you find a neutral spine? Okay, so we'll do some cat-cow. So on the inhale, I'm going to overemphasize the forward tilt of my pelvis, draw my chest sort of forward between my arms, right? I get a big arch in the back. That's the cat position. And in the cow, I press my hands into the floor. I round my back and I kind of tuck my tail. That's the cat position. So moving back and forth a few times, just like we kind of did on the floor with the pelvic tilts, but moving back and forth a few times, can you then find neutral? Find neutral. Okay. Take your hands forward a bit and then just rock back and forth. Rock back and forth, keeping your spine in that neutral position best that you can, as best you can. Next time you come up and you're in more of a table shape, turn your toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Can you have your back, your spine now in that same neutral position? So you're not overly rounded in the back, and you're not overly forward in the pelvic tilt, so you don't have a big, huge arch in your low back, but you're neutral. Great, then inhale, drop your knees to the floor and find cow. Exhale, press and round and bring your hips back towards your heels in a child's pose variation. Then inhale to cow. Then exhale, turn toes under, downward facing dog. And inhale, drop the knees, come to cow. And exhale, round and press back. Child's pose. Inhale, come up back to a neutral spine. Okay, so neutral spine. And now we'll inhale and take the right arm up. And exhale and draw the right arm through. Just hovering on the other side. So we're keeping the spine, even though we're rotating here, the spine stays in a neutral orientation. We have a neutral spine. Inhale, sweep up, and then next time you exhale, you can come all the way down to the floor and rest on your outer shoulder or the temple of your head. For 3, 2, 1, then press yourself back up, both hands to the floor. Couple rounds of cat-cow. Find neutral spine. Inhale, opposite arm up. And exhale, come through. Inhale, sweep that arm up. Here's a little twist, a little rotation. Exhale, come through. Two more times, trying to maintain that neutral, the neutral spine. Last time we slide on over, we come down and rest on the outer shoulder, on the side of the head. And then pressing up on the inhale, back to all fours. And a few rounds of cat-cow. Then you can come up to standing on your knees. And now you have a choice. We're going to sit for a few rounds of things, and you could sit in a chair, you could sit in Sukhasana, you can sit in Virasana. If you get tired of the position you're in, just switch it up. So come to a seat. You can be in a chair, you can be in Sukhasana. Anything will do. And then let's start with hands, fingertips just down to your sides or on the floor. And we'll just inhale, exhale. We're just going to go back and forth a few times. So we're going to work towards a lateral bend. But notice as you do this, if you're pitched forward, okay, we want the spine to be nice and neutral. I'll come to show you this way. So I don't want to be rounded here. I don't want to be pitched forward, but I want my spine to stay in that neutral position. So as we move back and forth, you can slow it down, inhale, and exhale, come over a little deeper. Inhale, opposite arm comes up. Exhale, come over a little deeper. And just go slow enough so you can feel if what's happening in your spine, if you're able to keep your spine in that nice neutral position. Good. And let's go one more on each side. And then come back to center. Rest the palms of your hands on your legs. Inhale, draw your elbows back and reach your heart forward into a cow-like position. And then exhale, slide your hands out towards your knees, round your back in a cat position. So cat-cow seated. Draw the elbows back on the inhale and slide the hands forward and round on the exhale. Breath contains the movement. And then after you get that motion going a little bit, land in neutral. Land in neutral. Great. Bring your fingertips to your shoulders. Elbows kind of out, so your upper arms are parallel to the floor. And we're going to rotate. So we'll rotate. This could be an inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Or if you want to go a little faster, you can inhale, exhale, exhale. For me, that's a little too fast. So I'm going to inhale to one side, exhale back to center. Inhale to the opposite side, exhale back to center. It's kind of a Kundalini yoga movement. So notice if things start to deteriorate for you and you start to slouch, you want to find a nice neutral spine. Okay, with a little bit of forward tilt in the pelvis. Good. One more on each side, and then you can rest your hands in your lap. Great. Now bring your hands out in front with your elbows out to the side. And we're going to inhale, bring the elbows back. Exhale, bring the elbows forward and line up our forearms parallel. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. This one can go a little bit faster. Good. And stop. Rest your hands. Roll your shoulders up, down, and back. Both directions. Okay. Now with a nice neutral spine, draw your ear towards your shoulder. Back to center. Draw your ear towards your other shoulder. Back to center. So working in the cervical spine. And you might have a little catchy there. I do for sure, going to one direction. And then we come back to center. If you don't have any major neck issues, you can do some head rolls. And if you do have any kind of neck injury, recent neck injury or neck issues, just do a half of a roll. So kind of sweeping just through the front. And of course, take that in both directions. And then come back to center. And now the same thing with the elbows back, but this time opposite orientation of the arms. Now, if you do it once, you're probably gonna, you're gonna see that's your preferred way. So just change up which one comes on top. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. If we were really doing Kundalini yoga, we would do this 108 times, but I'm not a Kundalini teacher, just borrowing some of the movement. And rest your hands in your lap, roll your shoulders up, down, and back. Just like we did on the floor, we had the feedback of the floor go in both directions. Great. Good. And then rotate, looking over one shoulder. Rotate, looking over the other shoulder. Great. Now you're going to bring your fingers to clasping against one another. Call it a bear grasp. And we're going to go one elbow up, the other down, and then the opposite orientation. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, exhale. And you can see we get a little lateral movement in the spine when we do this. So these are enhanced movements, but we want a stable spine. Stable and neutral spine as we move back and forth. Ribs flare out. That's good. Notice what happens as we go a little bit longer. How does the movement deteriorate? Rest your hands down in your lap. Good. Now inhale, sweep your arms up. Interlace your fingers, press your palms towards the ceiling. And then release your hands down to your sides. It's the same thing we did on the floor, but we had the floor behind us, right, for that feedback. So as you do this, right, see if you can maintain that nice neutral spine. Inhale, interlace the fingers, press the hands away, sweep the arms up. Exhale, release arms down to the sides. So we're not rounding, we're not slouching, but we've got this nice neutral spine. And again, remember that neutral spine is for you the most relaxed, the most relaxed. You're allowing for this enhanced movement, joints moving, right? So it's not going to look exactly like mine or anybody else's. Good, one more. And then come back to resting hands on your lap. If you need to change up your legs, you know, your seat, opposite leg in front, or switch it up, do that. Okay. Okay, now with your eyes closed, just so you can really sense this, we've done this many, many times. On your next inhale, at the end of your inhale, pause, pull your pelvic floor up and your navel up and in, and we call that a root lock. So pull everything in root lock, then exhale everything out like deflating a balloon. At the end of your exhale, root lock. Inhale, pull pelvic floor up, pull everything in, root lock. Exhale, root lock. Great. Relax for one breath. And now bring that bear position right in front of your throat. So hands are clasped like the bear grasp right in front of your throat. So we'll take an inhale here, root lock. Exhale, root lock. Then we'll inhale, bring this right above the head, root lock. Exhale, pull everything up, root lock. Inhale, back in front of the throat, root lock. Exhale, root lock. Inhale, bring hands above your head, root lock. Exhale, root lock. Release. Let your hands float down, rest in your lap. Take a few rounds of breath here, just a natural breath. Great. And then come back to table position on hands and knees. Come back to table. Hands a little forward to the shoulders, rock back and forth. Okay. And find a neutral spine. Find your neutral spine. Turn toes under, press hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now we'll inhale and reach the right leg out. And this whole position, no matter how much I'm raising my leg in this three-legged dog, See if you can sense your back being in neutral position and your pelvis level. Now, can you exhale, bend your right knee, bring your right knee forward to between your hands or like right towards your chest, but the back stays in neutral. Inhale, reach the leg out. Exhale, come forward, keeping the spine neutral. Bringing the knee forward and back. And then set your right foot down. Inhale the left leg out behind you. So no matter how much you've lifted the back leg, can you keep your pelvis level and your spine neutral? Exhale, bend through your left knee and bring it towards your chest, rocking forward. And then inhale, press the leg back out. Inhale, come forward again. Exhale, press the leg back out. Set your foot back down in downward facing dog. If you have a blanket underneath you, gonna kind of scoot that out of the way so it's not in your way. And then walk your feet towards your hands. Big deep squat as you come back and press hands to thighs and stand up. Okay, find now Tadasana with the feet separated and find that same neutral spine. Find the same neutral spine. This is where we're standing most of the time. So we want to really develop the ability to find a neutral spine. Ears are back over shoulders. If you can imagine the floor is behind you, right? A little bit of space behind the cervical spine, thoracic spine. So concave, convex in the thoracic spine, concave in the lumbar spine, and then the sacrum is convex, right? So find that neutral spine. Great. From here, step your right foot forward and your left foot back with the left toes out. Legs can be straight. Find your hands on your hips. Now, you don't have to have your pelvis lined up with the short end of the mat. It can be sort of off at a diagonal, but make sure right and left, your pelvis is level. Forward and backward, right, your pelvis is level. So your pelvis is neutral, your spine is neutral, and then as you press into your back heel, bend through your front knee, find warrior one. Right? Okay. Now inhale, reach the arms up, arms by sides. So we've added some movement, and we want the spine to remain stable because there's some stress on the spine, but we also have the freedom of movement. So back legs engaged, front legs engaged, spine is in neutral. Exhale, straighten the front leg, bring arms down to your sides. Inhale, press into back heel, bend front knee, reach your arms up overhead. Warrior one. Exhale, straight front leg, legs come straight, arms down to the sides. Repeat that a few times, just in and out of warrior one. Inhale, bend through the front knee, press into the back heel, reach the arms overhead. And the whole time, I really want you to think about, what is my spine doing? Is my spine staying in that neutral position? Good. Then the next time you bend your knee, front knee, and your arms are up overhead, you'll exhale, step forward and come into Tadasana. Good. And we'll try the other side. We'll try the other side. So here we go. Coming into Tadasana. Right foot back, left foot forward, toes out in the back, back foot. You can start with your legs straight. Find a neutral pelvis. Back is in neutral, spine is neutral. Then press into the back heel as you bend through the front knee. Bring the low ribs in. Inhale, sweep arms up. So now warrior one on this side, warrior one on this side with your neutral spine. Exhale, straighten the front leg. Let the arms float down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Hold this now. Hold this warrior one. Make sure you're pressing into the back heel. And you're pressing into the front foot. And you've got your neutral spine. And then on your exhale, rock forward, step forward, bring both feet forward, Tadasana. Good. Inhale now and reach the arms up. And exhale, fold, taking both hands to the floor, step or jump back to downward facing dog. Inhale, walk your feet towards your hands, hips back, knees bent, come into Utkatasana with a neutral spine. And then as you inhale, step up, arms to your sides, straighten the legs. Feel your Tadasana. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold through center. Hands to the floor, step or jump back, downward facing dog. Take a few breaths in your downward dog. Really working for the same alignment of your spine that you had when you were lying on the floor. Next inhale, walk your feet up to your hands, bending in your knees, coming into a squat, bring the arms forward, set the hips down on the exhale, Utkatasana. Arms can be either straight out in front of you or biceps by ears, but find the neutral spine, the same position that you were on the floor. Inhale here, exhale, stand up, arms down to your sides. Take a round of breath into Tadasana. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold. Hands to the floor, step or jump back, downward facing dog. Try to go with the opposite foot each time. Find the neutral spine. This time, inhale into high Dandasana, the plank. Can you find that same neutral spine alignment here? Draw the belly up and in. And then rock your hips back to downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to your hands. Deep bend in the knees as you come into Utkatasana, the fierce pose. And this time, inhale, sweep the arms up, stand up. And exhale, just let your hands float through heart center and to your sides. Let's try one more standing position up. It will be a balancing position. And again, we're really thinking about a neutral spine. So we'll go with Vrikasana. So weight in one foot. I'll turn this way to you. Weight in one foot. Find a neutral spine even when you take the opposite foot and lift it. So pull the standing leg hip in and then keep that neutral pelvis position. Keep your neutral spine position. And you can take foot to the top of the foot, to the calf, or to the inside of your groin. And find Vrikasana. What happens, does your posture, does your alignment deteriorate when you're asking your body to do something a little different? Again, just release that, shake it out, and try the other side. So get a good spread with your feet. Pull the standing leg hip in as you lift the other foot. Rest it on top of the foot or into the calf or into the groin, and then find a neutral pelvis. Okay, so neutral pelvis, that means we're not tilted too far this way or too far this way. We've got the pelvis neutral. That's going to help us, okay, have the neutral spine. Because when we're on the floor, lying on the floor, you can't do this or this. That's what happens when we stand up. So find that neutral spine and then find your Vrksasana. And release. Take your feet nice and wide and just sway your hips back and forth, then around in some circles, both directions. Just release any tension here. And then from this wide stance, inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold through center. Find your hands to the floor and step your hands forward, your feet back. Come back to downward facing dog. Rock forward to high Dandasana. Then drop to your knees and take your hips back towards child's pose. And then from your child's pose, you'll just come up enough to slide one arm through underneath and roll yourself onto your back. Take your arms wide, take some windshield wipers. And then wherever you need to find the neutral spine again, if you are able to just take your legs to the floor and find that neutral spine position again, if you need to do a couple of cascading bridges to sort of, get any kinks out of the spine, but in your Shavasana, find neutral spine. So back of the head presses into the floor, and sometimes I do this. I go from tip to tail. I press the back of my head into the floor, draw the chin in, then I tuck my shoulder blades underneath my body. I find my neutral pelvis. Then I let everything go. Let everything go. So my breath is easy and natural. There's no effort in my breath. I feel the orientation of my spine relative to the floor. Now release any tension that is in your face. In particular, around the eyes and between the brow. Release your jaw. And let your tongue just rest in the bottom palate. Releasing your tongue all the way back to the root of your tongue. Soften your shoulder tops. Soften your whole back body as if it was like some butter melting. Soften your whole back body. Release any tension in your legs, your feet. And soften your hands. Next, inhale into a soft belly. A soft belly. The spine forms in the embryo, and then everything forms forward of that spine. So in a way, the spine is behind us. We talk about sometimes the back body being our, backbone of a person. So but the spine is sort of behind us, right? And then we are moving forward in the world. We want the lightness of the spine, stability of the spine, this transmutation or the transmuting of cosmic energy that comes and becomes manifest in our spine. Definitely was revered by the yogis of ancient times. Very important for us to take care of our spine. As you lie on the floor, feeling the support of the floor prop. Grateful for the movement that you enjoy, the stability you enjoy from your spine. You could rest your hands onto your heart center at this time. Just acknowledging all that your body, the wonder of your body, what your body is able to do. The gift of your spine. So stay where you are if that is the most pleasing to you. Roll onto one side if you're ready to come up to a seat. There's no hurry, of course. But if you want to join me in the final Om, you could roll to one side and then up to your seat. Notice if you feel in a hurry or you're any sense of urgency. Take your time. Hands in prayer. The cleansing breath first, inhaling through the nostrils and out through open mouth. And inhaling to an Om. May the merit of our practice encourage all beings to unveil the hidden brilliance that lies within. Namaste.